All right, hey guys, welcome back to another video of Out of This World Arts and Crafts. So today we're going to be drawing the constellation Draco, which is a dragon, and we will be making it look like a characterization of the constellation. So the first thing I'm going to tell you about is the supplies I'm going to use. So I'm going to use a white sheet of paper. This is watercolor paper, some tape, pencil, some watercolors and brushes, a mixing tray, paint cup with water in it, and some paper towels. Now, I'm choosing to paint the background like a gradient of blues and like purples and maybe some blacks just to give it some depth, kind of make it look like the night sky. But if you just want to start with a white sheet of paper, or if you want to start with a colored sheet of paper, that's totally fine. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna draw the constellation Draco. So I was looking up some images of Draco, and there are 20 stars, I believe, in this constellation. So, where did it go? I had some interesting. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. So I'm gonna first tape down my paper with some painter's tape. This is actually called artist tape, but painter's tape works just fine. It's just kind of like a masking tape, if you will. And that's on the right side. We want the toothy side of the watercolor paper to be on top. We're gonna just tape down the edges because watercolor tends to lift up the page and then it makes it warp and bubble. So we're gonna do our best to avoid that, and the tape definitely helps with that situation. All right, now that you got your page all taped down, oops, there we go. Perfect, okay. Now that your page is all taped down, we're gonna take our pencil and we're gonna draw little dots for the constellation. So I'm gonna start with, I think this is more like the head or the bottom of Draco the dragon. And it's kind of like this smallish trapezoid. That's how I kind of picture it in my head. So I have the dots that represent the stars, and these lines are just kind of like connecting the shape, making the shape really more apparent. And then there's one that goes straight up. So there's this line that goes through right there. And then we're gonna go down again, and there's 3 stars that go down. So there's 1, a little gap, 2, and 3. And we're gonna draw a line that goes to those guys. Boop, done, and done. Okay. And then we go across a little bit. So it just kind of reminds me of like the tail of a dragon. So I'm just gonna go like this, go across. Boom, another one. I might just bring it a little closer. I don't like how distance that is, and I want to make sure that the whole shape of the dragon is kind of like central on the page. And then there's this one random star that kind of just chills over here. We're just gonna leave that there. We're not gonna connect it to the constellation, kind of like these 3, how they're not connected. And we're gonna go up again. Just some rough lines, no pressure here. There. Another one, and then the short part of the tail. Cool, so now, oh, I forgot a star. There's one that goes kind of close to we're kind of just gonna call this the head for now. And we're gonna put it right there. Beautiful. So now that we have our constellation, we're gonna go ahead and mix some paint so we can have a nice spacey theme background. So I have my mixing palette here. I'm gonna take this blue paint that I have and just put a tiny dot, if I can open it, my goodness. Oh goodness, come on. There we go. Tiny dot on the side of the tray. Not a lot because this paint is pretty pigmented. If you have just a regular Crayola watercolor palette, that'll work perfectly for this. This is just what I had at the moment. My usual room that I use is currently locked up, so we're just kind of using what we got. This is like a purple, but it's not really working. It's kind of gooey. Ew. All right, there we go. And I'm thinking we're gonna use some black. Nice, okay. So now that I have my three colors that I'm primarily using, I'm going to take a flat brush, get it nice and wet, and I'm going to make a wash out of this paint that I chose. So we're gonna take this blue. Well, first we're gonna put some water in one of these trays. Beautiful. Take some blue, swirl it in there, and you want it to be primarily water. Like the color is just kind of like the pigmentation of the water. We don't want it to be mostly color. We want it to be mostly water. Boom. All right. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and color my page, and I'm gonna just do it like a base coat. So I'm going in with my brush and just water, not really any pigment on it. Just kind of scrubbing across the page. I kind of want it to be scrubby, swirly motions that the pigment will hopefully follow. So I'm just kind of swirling my brush around. Now, again, if you decide to not use watercolor paper, that is totally fine, and you can probably skip this part of the video until we start drawing. Just make sure you have your dots on the page, and that's probably the most important part as of right now, because we're gonna go back and color this, and then we're gonna actually draw our characterization of Draco. Not Draco Malfoy, if you are into Harry Potter, but Draco the Dragon. All right, so now that my scrubby marks are all done, I'm gonna go ahead with my beautiful wash that I just made of this blue, and I'm going to put it on. I'm gonna actually add more blue pigment. Never thought I'd say that, but here I am. Okay. I might actually add some black to this color because I want it to be like a darker blue. I think that makes it interesting, keeps it fun. It's always fun to try new things in art. Just kind of dotting with my brush, going all over the place. That's okay. If an area seems overworked, just come back to it. That's just how it is with watercolor. You just kind of have to be patient, and I get it. Patience is like hard, especially in art, because you're just like, oh, I just wanted to get it done, or oh, I just like can't wait to see the final results. That's usually how I am, and I lose patience really fast, but that's okay. We have to remind ourselves, no, art takes time, and that's okay. All right, guys, I'm back. So, I know, got a few things happening here. So I ended up flipping my page, actually. I drew the constellation, like this was the head, and yes, it is the head, but it was hard for me to comprehend the way I had it. So I just ended up flipping the page over, and that's okay. I mean, not over, just like around, like I just rotated the page. Then I ended up going with my pencil and kind of like doing a rough sketch, and I realized, hey, like you guys probably can't see that, so I'm definitely going to go over it with Sharpie, and I'll teach you how to draw it with the Sharpie. Oops. So here we go. We're gonna follow along. Just checking out my Sharpies. Don't mind me. Okay. So I have my pencil drawing. It's a very interesting dragon. I decided to go with, he looks more friendly to me than I intended, which is okay. We like a friendly dragon. And he only has 2 front legs and a long tail. So I kind of picture him as like a water dragon. But yeah, anyway, let's just hop into it because we can. So we have the constellation underlying here. This is what I determined to be the head. This is kind of like the neck area where his front legs are, and the tail, which will be wrapping around. Cool. So we're gonna get started. And I'm just kind of going over what I already had. So I'm just making a head shape, kind of rounded, but like where the eye is, I'm doing kind of a slant square. Very distinct shape. And that's his like long nose. I kind of pictured like an alligator nose, reptile-esque. That's his mouth, and we're gonna do the under part of his mouth, kind of like the jaw. Yes, perfect. And then I thought it would be fun to have a dragon with horns. So I went ahead and made these long horns. So I just did a long line, and you kind of go up, and then you stop, because I want it to look kind of curly. And then we go back. I'm just gonna go over this line again, sorry. There we go, okay. And then we're gonna go again, and we're gonna connect the bottom of the horn to the top of the horn by being parallel to the other line. And then when we get closer to the end, we're gonna connect it so it looks curly. And then we're gonna do a second horn, because why not? Again, going up. Cool, all right, like that a lot. So I kind of already went down the back of the head into the neck area. So we're gonna finish that line. This is kind of just like the shape of the dragon all coming together. Draco, our dragon. So I have that swirl there, and we're just gonna leave it for now because I'm gonna show you how I want to connect it. But first we need to put this line in, because that's the bottom half of the dragon, and we can't go all the way around and go through this line, because then it'll look like it overlapped, and we don't want that. So now we're gonna do the front of the neck. Now we're kind of on the belly part. and this is the under part of the tail. So I just went, again, like we finished the bottom of this line so we could go across. So we're kind of like skipping over and then finishing the tail, and at the end of the tail it's a little more skinny, obviously, because it's the end. And there you go. So I left this gap here because this is where the fin, in quotations, fin of the dragon fish creature we have here. So I'm gonna go ahead and make that shape. It's kind of like a feathery shape. I kind of just went in and like thought of a feather, and you know how feathers have like parts that are kind of like broken off because they've been in the wind. There are little gaps. Or it kind of reminds me of like a flame. Nice. All right. So that's the tail part of the dragon. And now I'm gonna draw the arms here. So I just chose to do kind of like a stair-stepping pattern. So kind of where that's connected, it's like right there and here. And I'm just going down. Nice little wavy motion. And with the hands or the fingers, I want them to look kind of scaly and like talony. That's not the right word, but you know how like eagles and birds have like talons? That's what I'm going for here. Cool. And then the other side of the belly, we have another arm. So again, making sharp pointed fingers. Cool. There we go. All right, so here comes the fun part where we can add like some detail to our dragon. Right now we just have his body. It looks pretty cool, but I think we could definitely add some more details to it. So I'm gonna make his underbelly, which is kind of just like a U shape. And it kind of like fades as we go. So I did the U shape, connected it to the top of the arm, went under the arm, started here, which is like right after this elbow-ish piece, and then connected it to our tail portion. And I think we can definitely add some of that scaly belly part over here. So I'm gonna put that, well, yes, we can. I'm gonna put some over here. Beautiful. And right here. To show that it's the belly, I'm adding some lines. I just think that looks nice on a dragon. Draco is gonna be looking so cool when this is all over. I'm so excited. Okay. Nice. So towards the end of the tail, I decided to put the lines closer together, showing that we're close to the end. Yeah, okay. And what else are we gonna do? I think this dragon definitely needs some teeth and an eye for sure. So we're gonna add some teeth here, which are just like little V's. Rawr. A nostril, a little dot for the nostril. And before I get into the eye, I'm going to add some lines to the horn. Horns, not just one horn, there's two. There we go, very nice, very nice. And we'll give him an eye shape. So for the eye, everyone assumes it's a circle, but it is, but it also is more complicated than that. So we're gonna do a line for for the first part of the eye, and then another line connecting just slightly under it, like so, and then like this, a U shape, and I'm gonna color that in, but leave the U shape blank. Looks cool. All right. Definitely gonna add some lines here. The fun part about your Draco Dragon, he doesn't have to look exactly like mine. You can definitely do some of your own like detailing work. Like I might add some scales or, ooh, I know, some triangle shapes to make him look more dragon-esque. Cool. And I'm just repeating that down until I feel like I am done with that shape. I'm making them smaller when I get towards the end there. Cool, I think he looks wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and use some colored pencil to color it in. Okay, so now that I have my dragon all colored in, Draco's looking fine, he's looking fresh. I added some gold stars, just little dots here and there. But I'm gonna write down his name. I'm gonna do like a little name tag type thing. So I'm gonna do a rectangle shape with my Sharpie again. Probably gonna have to go over that a couple times, but that's okay. So a rectangle shape. And I kind of want it to look like a scroll, I think. Yeah, for sure. That's gonna look awesome. So I'm gonna add 2 little square lines. So halfway or a little less than halfway down one side, you're gonna go out, and then you're gonna draw a line going down here, yep. And then you're gonna go out again and try to line it up with the other one. You're gonna do a little triangle movement. Perfect. Here's one end of the scroll, and then we're gonna go up here. We're gonna draw a line that goes up and out. And we're gonna draw one that goes out. And we're gonna do our triangle again. Beautiful. And, sorry. And we're gonna write our name, or the dragon's name, which we determined to be Draco. And we're gonna write Draco. All right, there we have it. We have our Draco constellation. We still have the constellation in the shape of our dragon, but now we just made him look like a dragon in the sky. All right, thanks for watching, you guys. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time.